Have you ever felt like your emotions were too intense to share? Like speaking up might be too much for others to handle?
Have you ever tried to open up only to be met with fear and judgment, or maybe even labeled too crazy for expressing how you feel?
When our emotions are neglected, our words are stifled too. It's not just about being unheard. It's about feeling unworthy, unwanted, and deeply unimportant.
It's the quiet echo of shame we hear after our pain has been dismissed. Today, we want to talk about it. I'm Shulin, a 17-year-old student who hosts a podcast interviewing mental health experts.
And I'm Emily, a trauma therapist with almost a decade of experience helping people heal emotional wounds. In my work, I've seen clients from over a dozen different countries, all struggling with things like anxiety, depression, or PTSD from overwhelming experiences. But one question keeps coming up. Is something wrong with me? Clients don't feel the way they think they should, especially when their environment has told them it's not okay to feel the way they do. And think about that. When was the last time you felt angry, anxious, or unhappy, and your first thought was, what's wrong with me? But what if we flip the script? What if instead of those emotions being symptoms of a broken self, they were signals pointing to something important? Our emotions aren't defects. They're data.
I felt that pain, and I learned to interpret those signals. When I was 13, I had times when my heart would beat so quickly. I felt like it was so difficult for me to breathe. I felt like I was dying. Fear and confusion overwhelmed me, so naturally I forced myself to seek some help. But so often I was told that it's too taboo to talk about topics like these. That time of anxiety distanced me from myself, my friends, and my family. It led me to search for answers on my laptop, which is how I found podcasting. In my very first episode, I talked about panicking and panicking at school. I almost didn't upload it because I was so afraid of how others might judge me. But the very first time a guest told me that I was making a difference, I realized this was about me creating space that others didn't have.
I've witnessed the kind of healing that comes from feeling heard almost every day. I've also felt the pain of being dismissed, and despite working in mental health, have still doubted myself because of it. Like when I followed my husband here to Hong Kong. For him, it was a homecoming. For me, I left behind everything that felt like home. After a few months of struggling to adjust, I shared my anxiety with my Chinese mother-in-law. She looked at me and said, "Don't stress so much. It's because you have a weak heart." Yuksum implies emotional fragility or a lack of resilience. In my ongoing struggle, I really started to wonder, am I just weak?
That experience is all too familiar. Ignoring how we feel and labeling as weakness or even just discipline. Looking back, the slaps I received with a metal ruler when I wasn't obedient enough felt more like an emotional punishment than a physical one. I felt silenced. So my laptop and mic became the place where I had my voice. Despite only two people listening to my first episode, what mattered to me was the freedom and the chance to express my thoughts so clearly. I stopped questioning myself and began to use my experiences to grow and to learn.
When we're told we're wrong for how we feel, it can change how we see ourselves. It can even prevent us from healing the very things that we wanted to express. I saw a similar struggle in my client. Let's call him John. A teenager sent to me after his essays were considered too dark. He told me that his anger felt safest expressed on paper, since at home he faced slaps, yelling, or was locked outside of the apartment for hours if he or his grades weren't perfect. John asked, "I'm so angry. Is this normal?" when we don't feel the way we think we should, we assume we're broken. But what if we're not?
Anxiety can be a signal for us to prepare, to slow down, or to ask for support. Anger often means that a boundary is being crossed. It's a message for us to pay attention. Sadness can mean that we've lost something important and need to give ourselves the space to grieve. Even jealousy points to things that we want or value. All data points.
And if emotions are data, then listening is more powerful than fixing. When we stop asking, what's wrong with me? And we start to wonder, what's happening to me? The struggle shifts. The problem isn't you. The problem is you've been tuning out your own guidance system. Like with John, I assured him that anger is a normal response to loneliness. He needed to know his anger did not make him a bad person, though it was a sign that something wasn't right. The pressure at home was too much. He felt like a machine, expected to deliver perfect results while hiding his true feelings, his true self, to keep everyone else comfortable.
Last March, a Chinese YMCA survey showed that 70% of parents didn't know that yelling, shaming, threatening, or dismissing their child's emotions could be harmful or even considered as abuse. When we dismiss those people's emotions, kids learn to mistrust their own inner data of feelings. Mind Hong Kong also found that 3 in 5 people with a mental health condition have never shared, mostly out of the fear of judgment. Now, I talked to Dr. Wu from Mind Hong Kong, and she reminded me that fear, stigma, and how we see ourselves is all connected in a complex system. She said, the only thing that makes sense is that everyone's struggling, and if we talked about it, it would be normalized, wouldn't it?
That's the core of it. It's the fear of how we feel. But emotions tell us who we are and what we need. I think of it like digestion. Our body needs to break down food to nourish and repair itself. Well, we need to digest emotions too. Only then can we extract the lessons and the insights and the healing they offer us. It can get uncomfortable, like indigestion, but it's necessary for growth.
When someone shares, even subtle signs can dismiss their experience, like responding with, that sounds hard, but minimizes what they felt, or using comparative statements saying, Emily, I've been through that too. It really wasn't that hard.
Oh.
Or just don't be so sensitive, causes more disconnection. When we dismiss a person's feelings, we can unintentionally dismiss the person themselves.
It all comes down to creating a felt sense of safety. Therapy helps when that process gets stuck, but you don't have to be a therapist to create a safe space to feel. That experience of acceptance or rejection happens in every conversation. Safety shows up in how we respond.
To respond well, listen with your full attention. This might look like eye contact, an open posture, or even just nodding your head. Ask questions that shift your response from judgment to curiosity. Then we can make space for compassion, which prevents shame.
I imagine some of you are thinking, but what if the person I need to hear me still can't or won't listen? That's a difficult reality since we can't control other people. However, you do always have the power to listen to yourself. You see, we tend to push away the parts of us that hurt the most or make us feel ashamed, and then we do it to others. We must first learn to accept all parts of ourselves, the parts we like and the ones we don't. So let's practice that now. If you feel comfortable, close your eyes and place a hand on your heart. Think of a time you were dismissed or told you were wrong for how you feel. Notice how you felt then. Where do you feel it in your body now? How long have you been carrying this? Ask that part of you how you can better support it going forward. And when you feel ready, take a deep breath and open your eyes.
The very first time I tried this, I realized the way we hold space for tough conversations can either help us grow or tear us down. Now, we check our phones over 100 times every day. Imagine just a fraction of that attention spent checking in on our emotions instead. Or the alternative is to just turn away, to numb ourselves with temporary rewards and distractions and hope that those emotions vanish. Where a well-lived life just means feeling as little as possible and being as disconnected as we can. Yet, just this year, the World Health Organization linked loneliness to 100 deaths every hour.
In a world of disconnection, we end up more isolated and alone. Without meaning to, we perpetuate a culture of psychological harm, where our environments work against our natural inclinations to connect and express, where our inner wisdom is turned into an inconvenience.
So, it's time to reframe. Emotions aren't defects, they're data.
And if they're data, then the key is to listen, not to fix.
The next time someone shares with you, don't try and fix them. Don't judge them. Just listen. Because maybe nothing is wrong with you. And if that's true, maybe nothing is wrong with them either.
Maybe those difficult feelings are the most normal thing about you. Shulin, when you were told that your anxious feelings were too taboo, my heart broke for you. It makes sense that you struggled to express yourself when you were judged for how you feel.
Emily, when you were anxious in your new home, your heart wasn't weak, it was just adjusting. You were brave to take bold steps and follow your heart despite the challenges ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you.